everyone, and welcome back to SAFC Fan TV and another edition of Thursday Night Live. Joining myself tonight on the panel, as always, we have a mad mistake. Terry, how are you doing?
Aye, not bad. Off for 3 days now, so much happier than I was yesterday because I had to work today. But I've had my nice chicken salad there just there now, so I'm nice and full, ready for the show.
You've not done an 8 mile run or anything today? Nothing.
Only four today.
Only 4, just a nice short one. With Jack Shields as well. Jack, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Had a bit of a medical procedure earlier in the week, but I'm fighting fit now. Looking forward to a good weekend of football. 2 vital matches for something to talk about tonight.
Well, we had the snip.
No, I've had a bit of work on my ear. I had a bit of a dodgy thing on my ears. I'm getting that removed. So, yeah, looking forward to the games.
Well, glad to hear it's all going well. We're also joined on his second ever appearance on the channel, Adam Reek. Adam, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I haven't run 4 miles and I haven't had an operation, so...
well, you're pretty boring then.
Yeah. What have you been doing with yourself? Robbing the bank?
I've just been practicing for my second appearance.
Oh, right. He's in the right attire for robbing a bank, like he's all in black, so... You know, here coming the men in black and Galaxy Defenders and all that. As always, we are live, so the live chat is open if you'd like to get yourselves in there. And seeing as we haven't had a midweek game, there's not loads to talk about. If you've got any suggestions you'd like to get us, anything you want to put to the panel, we'll get to as many as we can. So if you'd like to put any suggestions in the live chat, we'll read out as many of the comments as we can. And like I say, if it's a suggestion we can talk about for a bit, then I think we'll get to it. Last Palmas Mackham on there. Hello to Ryan McCormack as well. David Walker. Peter Salkfield, Eddie Bamber, hello to you, Mad Max, John Forbes, Patrick Ward, all on the live chat as well this evening. Before we do start, I just got a little bit of news today. I don't know if many people have seen it, but the dates for the League One playoff semi-final and final have been confirmed, but I just don't think there was enough coverage of it. So I just thought I would put it on in case anyone's interested. They'll be played on Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and Monday. On there, so the first one will be obviously 6th versus 3rd, then 5th versus 4th, and as follows. So if you are interested and you haven't seen it, I just thought I'll put it up there because it's interesting to see there's no Saturday game. They're spread out over quite a long period of time. It's just nice, to make plans, a bit earlier if it matters to you at all. So there we go. I just thought I'll put it on there.
Just while it's on there, what day do you expect us to be playing on?
21st of May. 21st of May. I'm expecting that one.
We'll definitely be playing then. But what day through the week do you think will come 5th or 6th?
I think it'll definitely be 5th or 6th. I can't see us breaking into the top 4. So I don't know. I'll stick my neck out and say 5th to be pretty confident. But I mean, you just kind of predict it at that point, can you? Really? I mean, I guess we can get to all these topics of conversation a bit later in the show. Speaking of news today, the club did extend the early bird period for the season card sales, and today the club have surpassed 20,000 season cards already renewed for next season. I just thought I'd start us off with that, really. Terry, I'll go to you. And personally, I didn't expect us to hit 20,000 this soon. I feel as if we would have been lingering around the 14,000, 15,000 mark, and then maybe towards the season start, maybe you would just about get to 20,000. Is that more than you expected? I think it's quite surprising myself. I thought we've done really well as supporters.
Yeah, it's quite good, to be honest, but why don't they make that a fixed price? Just say, right, fair enough. People want to buy the tickets to get 20,000 sold. Let's make it a fixed price.
So you don't think that they should go up after the early bird period, is what you're saying?
No, I think they should just change their minds now and say, look, fair enough. There's plenty of people supporting the club. 20,000 sold already. We'll leave it like that. Fixed price. Show a bit of faith in the fans. Sort of reward the fans for the bad seasons we've had in League One over the last couple of seasons.
I think it's good when the price for renewing is lower than the price of actually buying a new season ticket. I think I'm in support of that because it does encourage loyalty. I know you could then counteract that and say, well, it makes it more difficult to become a supporter. But I always feel like, it's a nice thing to do. If you've already had your season ticket, it's cheaper to renew than it is to buy. I feel like that's a fairer way of doing it. But I think if you're renewing your season ticket, you might not have the money, now to renew it, but you might have the money in 2 or 3 weeks' time. So I feel like as long as
but that's why you can pay over four sort of payments, can't you? And it's interest free.
Yeah, no, I just felt there's a lot of people who are living month to month essentially, and I felt as if
that's why it should be cheap in the first place. That's the case.
I just thought the window the club left, there was only about, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. I felt as if it should have been at least a month, because then at least everyone's got a full cycle of pay to go through. I felt like that would have been fairer. But I mean, good news. Jack, I'll go to you. 20,000 season cards for next season. I just think that's for considering we're in April, I feel as if that's really high.
Yeah, I think the good run in the last few weeks has probably boosted that up. I think if you'd asked people when we were going through that horrible run whether or not they were going to renew, I think a lot of people would have been like, nah, definitely not 100% not renewing. I know a few people myself that have said, oh, I'm definitely not renewing. And then, you get bitten by the bug, few wins, suddenly there's a bit of a playoff feel to the season and you get that optimism. And a lot of the time it's, it's not just the football element with Sunderland. I mean, we don't go to watch the good football, obviously, but I think it's more the social thing, don't you? We'll probably all go to the game with mates. We might have a few drinks before the game, catch up with friends and have a bit of crack with the people you don't see regularly. So I think there's that element to it as well. And I think, the fact, there's a bit more optimism than there was a couple of months ago. I think it's good timing, shall we say. It's very, very, very good timing for the club that the Sunderland have started to pick up a little bit of form when the renewal dates have been you've been encouraged to renew, shall we say. So I think it's nothing should surprise anybody with Sunderland supporters. I mean, we've got the best fans in the land, of course we have, and I think that the loyalty that we've shown, I don't think we get enough credit for it, to be fair. I think there's certain other teams in the Northeast get mentioned as having the best supporters, but we don't get the credit we deserve considering the level we're at and the support we get. But yeah,
the media's favourite. Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people who when a few results are going badly, he'll go, "Oh, I'm not renewing next season," and it's it's a knee-jerk reaction, isn't it? Really, but Jack, like you say, I think when you consider that it's a social aspect for a lot of people, and myself included, a lot of people's week are built around the match day on a Saturday or looking forward to a Tuesday night game, which I think breaks the week up quite nicely. And I think when you consider that element, there's a lot of people, myself included, where I feel like, provided I always have the means and resources and money to do so, I think I'll always renew, because it's like a habit. It's just something you always do, and I don't think it would feel right not being there, really. So yeah, I feel like that's always something that's going to be in our favour. Adam, before I go to you, trying to say 101 people watching, 31 likes. So if you haven't already, please do give us a thumbs up. We'd like to try and get 100 likes on a Thursday by the end of the show. And just a reminder as well, it is free to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and you won't miss out on any of our future streams or videos. Adam, 20,000 season cards already then? Impressive?
Yeah, definitely. It does include myself, but from a bias point of view, I think it's a bit of an annoying one, because I've just turned 22. So the age bracket, it goes under 22 to adult. So I go from paying £120 to say 360. And I just feel like for 22-year-old lads, I don't know, could there be another age category in between that possibly? Because I feel as if it's my generation that there's other things to do. You can start going out, you can start enjoying other things, start getting different habits. And I think if the club want to keep supporters from, say, 20 to 25, I think asking them to go from paying £130 to, say, 360, it's quite a jump. I just feel as if, again, that could just be me being biased, you might disagree, but I just feel, could there be a ground, say, 125 possibly? I'm not sure.
I think a lot of people are still students, really, 22, 23, aren't they? Who either had to maybe do
at the moment, I'm still a student.
Who maybe had to do a foundation year or went to university a year or two later than the people who took the direct route straight from school and then college. And yeah, so I see what you're saying. I don't know if it was us, but I've seen an under 25 category somewhere. It might have been when I was buying an away ticket at some point. Do you think that'll be a little bit fairer? Because I feel like by 25, most people are, if you go to uni straight from school, you've probably done it by then.
That's it. And I don't want to come across as all university students that are always asking for something, but
yeah, well, that's how you are. That's how you are coming across them.
Instead of under 22s, maybe it's just under 25s. I mean, it doesn't matter anyway, because
or under 23s.
Yeah, even since being like, I think my first season ticket was 3-year-old. My dad's always got my season tickets. It's just like, what's the word? Tradition. Yeah. So, I mean, it's stinging his pockets more than mine, but I'd like to do my bit for him, save him a few £100.
Oh, be nice of you. Terry, were you wanting just before?
Yeah, I was just going to say there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to have a student discount. So if you're a student, then you get a discount.
Or something. Like none of my mates are students, but they wouldn't like. When I'm home, I'll go to the game with them. Now, if I say to them, "Oh, do you want to get a season ticket next season?" It's like £130, £140, whatever it is. I'm sure with 3 or 4 of them will be like, "Yeah, definitely." Now, if I say to them, "Oh, do you want to get a season ticket?" It's £350. It's probably now.
Yeah, both of my kids are students and they live away at university and they find it tough with bills and things. So I understand where you're coming from with that, definitely.
But that's the other thing. So I've lived away in Manchester for 3 years at uni and I've renewed every season, even though I can only say get to 4 or 5 games because of the price. Now, if I would, to be fair, my dad's been using my season ticket this year, so it's still been getting used, but I think the fact that
is he under 22 as well?
So like every game, obviously, he's been paying the extra. He's been saying to the steward,
"Didn't be a grass man."
But no, I just feel like because of the price, I've been doing it anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think it's like I say, I'm just surprised we hit it this quickly. Really, I felt as if we'd be lingering around, maybe 14, 15,000, and I think for us to really surpass 20,000 in good numbers, I felt as if it would probably mean we'd have to get promoted. I think was it 24,000 season card holders this season? Someone might be the correctors. Am I right on that, or I don't know? Is anyone
24? I think 24.
Something like and I just felt as if I'd say that dropping quite easily by a good sort of 10%. If we were to stay in League One again this season, I think what we had going for us this season was that we just came off the back of a lockdown which lasted so long, and no one could get to any games last season. I felt as if there was a bit of a buzz about just going out and doing things in general, and football games included that as well. Terry?
Yeah, you can flip the coin. You were saying before, people can't afford it because it's the end of the month, but people who can't afford to buy a season card, maybe it's a full price ticket, it's a bit of a bargain getting it cheaper now, and you haven't got to pay until the first payment in May, then the last one's in November, so you're spreading the cost throughout the whole of the season, all the way through the year, and you're going to get it cheaper, 335, where last year, I think mine cost about 360, so, £25 cheaper is still £25 cheaper, and last year it was 3 payments, this year it's 4 payments, so they're making you spread the cost down, and it's still 0% as well, so it's not too bad, to be honest.
Yeah. I think as long as there's no extra costs, because sometimes something can be spread out over 3 or 4 payments, but that comes at an extra 20% cost, which is just a bit unfair, really, isn't it? Really. So yeah,
this is 0%. It's 0%, so it's spot on.
Yeah. Just quickly going back to the live chat. Hello to Ian Barron, the Darlington fan who joins us as always in the live chat. Alan Robinson's in there. Kyle Mavin, Thomas S. Mick Griffiths is always in there. Patrick Ward, hello to you. Mad Max in the live chat as well. Brian Gartner. Neil Flurry, I wonder if his surname's Mac by any chance, is in the live chat as well. Staying on the topic of tickets and things like that, I've seen a bit of debate this week on Twitter regarding loyalty points. Of course, Morecambe away selling out on, I think it was 55 points, I think in the end, 55, something like that. I mean, there's a lot of people in there who are disappointed they didn't get a ticket, but, I feel like if you've built up your points, you've earned your stripes, and that's why you end up getting the tickets. Jack, I'll start with you. I know you like yourself, make more or less every away game. I mean, surely there's no other fair way of doing it. We all start on 0 points. You've got to build them up somehow. The ones with the most points get the priority access, surely.
It was always going to be an issue coming down to this level, though, wasn't it? What you've got is you've got one of probably the biggest away following in the league in Sunderland, and you've got some of the smallest grounds I've ever been to. You think of Burton Albion, Morecambe, Accrington Stanley, Lincoln City, the smaller grounds, you probably think of a few more that I haven't mentioned. There's quite a few at this level, and it was always going to be a sticking point with Sunderland supporters, but I agree. Unfortunately, there's no other way, no fairer way around it. And if there is a fairer way, I can't think of a one. Those that are saying that I haven't I haven't got enough away points. I usually have an excuse like, oh, I work away and I live away and I can't get to games, or you know what I mean, I work weekends, and it's really unfortunate. I do have sympathy for those people. I'm in a fortunate position whereby I can get the most away games, but it's one of those hard lines. You know, there has to be a method somewhere. It'll be completely unfair if someone like myself with 110 points lost out to someone who goes to maybe one a season. You know what I mean? So it's tough, and there has to be a system, and I haven't heard of a fairer way to do it than that. It's always going to be tough when you get away, particularly it's the last away game of the season as well. A lot of people would like to go, and we picked up form, and it was always going to be a scramble for tickets, but it's just unfortunate for those that can't get there. There's no other fairer way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've only missed 7 or 8 games all season, home and away, league, all the cups, even pre-season really as well. I think I went to a few of them, and even I've not managed to get a ticket from Morecambe. I think it sold out shortly after going on sale to pit with 55 plus points. I've got 59. I was just a little bit busy, caught up in something. I went to go on, and it sold out just beforehand. But if I had one more point, I could have got it the day before. But, you know, I take nothing away from the fact that those tickets are going to people who, you know, if I'd went to Oxford or Ipswich earlier in the season, or, you know, Cheltenham on the Tuesday night, then I would have bought a ticket for Plymouth. Then I would have been able to go. And, you know, it's only fair that people, I think, who build up the points over such a long period of time are the ones who end up being able to go. Adam, just before I go to you, trying to say 122 people watching, and well, I had it there, it's gone now. 57 likes. So if you haven't already, please do give us a thumbs up. I do like to get to 100, see if I can before the end of the hour. And if you would like to subscribe as well, it's free to do, so it'll be greatly appreciated. Adam, I go to you. I know you go to a few of the away games yourself. How do you feel about it? I think you're in agreement with myself and Jack.
Yeah, fine. I saw the worst tweet I've ever seen on Twitter the other night. Someone said,
was it from the 72?
No. Closely followed by, though. So someone said away tickets, they should all go on sale, and it should be first come, first served to see who's the best supporter. So you can log on to the internet to quick this. And I just said, what? Like, so someone who has better internet, is a better fan.
The tweet's since been deleted, by the way. You got about 20 good tweets and he's deleted it. Yeah, I've seen it as well.
Because, and then someone else was replying to me saying, but those fans that go to all those games have been to loads of games, so I want to go to a game. And I was like, that's not how it works. I said, look, if we were to get to Wembley, right, you'll be first come, first served by having a season ticket over someone that doesn't have a season ticket. It all works out the right way, whether it's, like I say, a game with 1,500 away fans or 40,000 at Wembley, you'll still get priority in some sense. I think I've got 40 or something. The annoying thing is I don't always get a ticket on my card. Sometimes I'll just go anyway, so it doesn't actually add to the point system. But no, if someone goes to all the games, then they should get them. Mind saying that, I realised a few months ago that Danny Bath follows me on 72. So I gave him a message for Wigan, and he said he'd sort me out. So I've given him a message for Morecambe, but he hasn't replied yet. So he's either hiding me off, or he's been very busy in training. But Danny, if you're watching,
it's too busy.
Can we clip that joke?
Actually, I was going to say, I think swiftly moving on is probably the best thing to do. That. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people complaining that saying, well, how are they expected to build up points if they're never able to buy a ticket? To which I would reply saying, well, whenever we have home games in the Cup, which is always at least twice a season through the Papa John's, surely you can buy a ticket for that game. Often it's only 3, 4, 5 quid or something anyway in the Papa John's. Away Cup ticket.
Away games this season gone to general sale.
I mean, Charlton springs to mind, Gillingham.
There's always the big ones. There's always the big ones, MK Dons, Sheffield Wednesday, you know what I mean? There's always those that are going to give you more. So I think I've even, to build my points up on a few occasions, I've bought tickets and then sold them on at a loss, you know what I mean? So someone I've done myself out of £5 or £10. I think I did it before the Newcastle away game. We won 3-0. I think it's 9 years today, actually, as well, the anniversary of that. Yeah. I think before that, I was struggling for points. I wasn't sure of getting one. And I think I bought a QPR ticket and ended up selling it for a 10 or less just because I wanted that extra point to make sure I got the Newcastle ticket. And you have to go to those lengths sometimes, though. Go to a game that's miles away, you know what I mean? Even that you have to get up for 5 o'clock in the morning for. If you're really that desperate, there's always a way to build up your points. It just depends on how much you want to do it enough.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think to drop a full list of all the games that I've went to general sale. But I remember Charlton did. I think Plymouth has. Gillingham probably did. Jack, I think he said Sheffield Wednesday. That did. MK Dons probably also did as well. I think that there's over 10 away games you could have gone to this season without even having a season ticket, which to me just proves the point of, I think a lot of the time people see, Morecambe away, last day of the season, it's only 2 or 3 hours away, and they want to get a ticket. And tough, because everyone's a ticket that, so you can't get one. Or, Accrington and Fleetwood, small allocation, it's only a few hours away. People want to go, but in order to get a ticket, you've got to build up your points through being loyal and go to all the other games. And if you're that desperate and you can afford it, you go to them lengths. Terry, your thoughts on the situation? And is the loyalty point system the fairest way to do it?
I think it's the best way, to be honest. I mean, I've thought of other systems and I've looked at other ways and I've heard people's opinions. I think this is probably the fairest way. The majority of the Sunderland fans think it's the fairest way to do it. I don't go to away games because I can't afford to go to away games. I can afford a season card and go to every other home game, every home game but every other weekend. So I couldn't really afford to do the away games as well. So I haven't got a problem with people going to the way the system is at the moment. Get your points. You go to the away games, get your points. Seems fair. Like I said before, there's FA Cup matches, there's Papa John's Trophies matches, there's other cup matches you can go to. You get points for that, don't you? So, why not? As you go up into the Championship, there'll be more places available in other bigger stadiums and you have bigger crowds. So you can build it up eventually.
The only so just quickly, the only thing that I think the club could maybe change to make it more fair is, I believe at the moment they incorporate the 3 seasons previously. Maybe he's just incorporated the 1 season previously.
But
because
then what about if there's a big away day the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season and you've got just about everyone fighting for tickets? Like something we've had, Newcastle away, literally the 3rd or 4th game of the season, how do you then separate that out, I would say?
The club will have the data of how many, say if we've got 2,500 fans, the club will have the data of how many fans has a certain minimum amount of points. So they'll always get first come first serve. But then maybe if it was based on the season, go on, Jack.
I was just going to say, Jack touched on Newcastle away. Newcastle away is the only away game I've ever seen a majority of people that don't go regularly to away games. So I don't know whether there's something going on there, but you go to Newcastle away and you see, you recognise faces. I do at away games, and I think I've never seen him. It tends to be people that know people within the club that get tickets for Newcastle away. I just thought I would make that point about Newcastle. I know what you're saying, Jack, but a lot of the time, it's who you know, not what you know. It's kind of who you know that can get you tickets for Newcastle away. Because I say that don't regularly go to games. I get you.
100%. I know what you mean. I think videos of like people walking along, like giving it the big one in front of the police, or videos in the crowd. I always think I've never seen any of them at an away game before.
Yeah, no, I think there's a core group of people who do, the vast majority of which, and often you just get to know them through, or even if you don't get to know them, you recognise the faces. They're often in the same group every single time. It's, a family or a group of mates, or, there's distinct features you can pick out. So I know exactly what you're saying. And I've never been to Newcastle away myself. But I know that if you own a box at the Stadium of Light, I know you get unlimited access to away games. So you can before they go on sale to anyone else, you can put down how many tickets you want. I mean, you got to pay for them, obviously, but you could say, I want 60 tickets. I don't know if there's a limit. I don't think there's a limit. I think there's an unlimited number. I know someone else who uses that system.
Well, 2,500, please.
Well, I mean, you could do that for a game like Newcastle and charge 50 quid, and you'd probably make a kind of bit of money out of it. So, but I do think that's, incredibly unfair. Don't get us wrong, it's probably the type of thing where on occasion you might end up taking advantage of it here and there. But I do think that is an incredibly unfair way of doing it. But no, I thought that was a fair point, Jack. Adam, were you wanting earlier? Did one of us interrupt you at some point?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'll just add to that. No. About, I think it was the 3. No, it was the 1-1 under Allardyce. My dad's friend's friend was Van Arnold's agent. So during the week, he was like, yeah, you can have the tickets for Newcastle. And then the night before the game, got a phone call saying, his family wants to go. So I was gutted. But do you know what? The bodies woke up. It was a little bit chilly. And I thought, we'll just watch it on telly.
Ooh, that is a harsh one. Just quickly going back to the live channel to Gary Carter, who just says he's in exile in Birmingham, says the content keeps him connected. So glad I can do so. Gary, thanks for tuning in. Hello to Tam. who's tuning as always. Lee Geeson or Geeson on the live chat says the season ticket price is spot on. Look at the ground and the football. We get better. We need faith, believe in the team. Hello, Jim Kirkbride is on the live chat there. Member of the channel, of course. Anyone else in there? And Gordon Seymour, the man with the best eyesight, is in the live chat as well. Lads, one thing I thought I would get onto as well before we get on to the weekend's games coming up. I was looking at the loan players in the squad. Hoffman, Dejaku, Doyle, Clark and Broadhead. It sprung to mind when I seen that Dejaku's back over in Germany, being diagnosed with tonsillitis, I think it is. He's a bit ill. He's went back to Germany. I'm not sure why he's had to go back to Germany. For being ill, maybe he's got his own reasons, I don't know. But I just wanted to throw it out there for those 5 names. How would we go about sorting it out next season? Is there anyone in particular I think we definitely need to keep? Is there anyone you just wash your hands with? Terry, I'll start with you. How would you look to approach them all?
If we're still in League One and Broadhead stays injury free from now to the end of the season and proves he can stay injury free, then obviously Broadhead's got, for me, I would like to get Broadhead back again and Doyle again, so he could improve again with age. He can improve again for next season. Again in League One. Championship, probably the only one, if we make it to the Championship, I will keep again is Broadhead if he can stay injury free and prove he's going to stay injury free from now to the end of the season, like from now to the beginning of next season. Because you don't want to sort of get him into a loan and have him injured majority of the season again and tie up a loan situation. But Dejaku, no. Hoffman, no. Who else was it again?
Hoffman, Dejaku, Doyle, Clark and Broadhead.
Clark in the Championship, probably no. I haven't been that impressed with Clark, to be honest. I mean, it's just my opinion. But like I say, if we're in the Championship, I'll be tempted to go for a whole load of new ones. And possibly only Broadhead if he can stay injury-free.
I think with Broadhead, he's got the quality to be up there with the likes of Pritchard and Stewart, for me, as some of our best players. But unfortunately, when you're only going to be fit for maybe at best 20 or so games a season, I don't really think that's reliable. I think if we were to get a contract that was one that was fitting of kind of pay as you play type of thing, I don't know if that really still exists in the modern game. Probably not that common, but I feel like if it was either on the cheap or, like you say, it was a really low wage, but then, you know, a nice little bonus every time you played, then at the very least, we are going to get some of our money's worth. And again, I wouldn't rely on him as our only option because we know he's going to get injured. I feel like when he's fully fit, he's brilliant. You know, he's a top-end League One, probably Championship quality footballer, really. However, when you can't stay fit for at least half the season, instantly, you've probably got to drop down a standard to become worthy, really. I feel like with Doyle, I think regardless of what league we're in this season, I would definitely inquire. I think if we're in the Championship, it wouldn't be first choice, I don't think, but I would definitely look to have him in the ranks. City would probably have something to say about that themselves, really, though. I just feel like he's being mismanaged, used far too much, really. Burnt out a little bit, and I think a mixture of confidence and exhaustion has just kind of meant the second half of the season we've just had to rest him too much. As for Hoffman and Dejaku, I'd just say no, really. I don't think they're going to be good enough in either league. I think if we go up, we've got an obligation to buy something along them lines, or we can sign them or something. Hopefully we don't. As for Jack Clark, I think if we're in League One, I'd probably inquire about it again, but I wouldn't be too bothered. I've not seen enough of them to think, yeah, he's definitely type of player we need. Adam, I'll go to you next. The loan players then, what do you feel about it?
Just on Broadhead, I think it's important to realise that there's a difference between being injury prone and just having an injury. That's his first ever injury in his career, and it was a bad one. It was a hamstring tear, I believe. So he's missed 3 months of the season through it. It doesn't mean he's injury prone. Was he not struggling at the start of his season for fitness as well, or was there not a one? Did he not get injured, come back, and then get injured again? I can't remember exactly, but I think in terms of big injuries, like if someone goes through and snaps someone's leg in the outdoor season, they're not injury prone. They've just had a horrible injury, and I feel as if it's just a case of he's a young lad, he's had a bit of a hamstring problem. To be fair, he probably isn't needed, but I think if we can get him next season fully fit, which I think he will be, because like I say, I think it's possibly just a one-off. He's a young lad. He's never had any. Because I was looking at his transfer market page there in terms of injury. He's never had an injury before, according to transfer market. So that includes Everton's youth system as well. I think
he's got Burton on loan, I think, as well.
Burton on loan. He didn't have an injury there. Like I say, I don't think he's injury prone. Well, I hope he's not. I think he just had an injury, and next season, League One or Championship, 100%. Because I remember saying a few months ago, I think the best 3 strikers in the league are Nathan Broadhead, Ross Stewart, and Callum Lang. And I'm saying that based off Broadhead having about 10 to 15 games, but he's so good. Like his movements, his smoothness of actions, his angle of separations, his finishing technique, his touches just before he strikes the ball. It's Premier League quality. And I think we're lucky that he probably hasn't had that run of games in a proper side, because if he had, I think Everton would be looking to put him in the squad next season. But just like, even without goals and assists, you can tell off a player's short movements, the level he can play at, and he will play in the Premier League one day, 100%.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's that quality, you can say, just shines through, even if he's not necessarily scoring and assisting. He's just so quick with his movements and his decisions. He seems to always be an option on the ball. He seems to make really good runs. So I see what you're saying. Jack,
Ipswich away was the perfect example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jack, yourself, the loan options then, the loan players, what do you make of it?
Yeah, just what the lads have already touched on. To be fair, I think Nathan Broadhead's the obvious one. You look at his goal record this season; he hasn't played a great deal, but I think it's just about 1 and 2, isn't it? Something like 9 in 18, 9 in 19, something like that across all competitions. I know he's played in the League Cup as well when we got the quarterfinals. We just look a better team with Nathan Broadhead, and I think he's a link play between the midfield and the striker. Yeah. He's a different type of striker as well. Different type of striker to Ross Stewart. I mean, we all know what Ross Stewart's good at. Obviously, his goal scoring, his hold-up plays, chasing defenders, his aerial threat. But you can't have 2 with the same player. And I think Nathan Broadhead's a very good alternative option. He's a lot more running in behind. His touch is excellent, as Adam's touched on. His finishing's very, very good. And he seems to pop up and get you a goal more often than not. So it's just his fitness. But, Adam says, it might just be in a bad season. I think he's definitely worth another year. I don't know whether or not another 6-month loan spell would be an option, maybe given from maybe August to January next season, something like that. If that's an option, and then take it from there, if we can extend to 6 months, or whether or not it has to be a year deal. But definitely him. The other ones, I'm not really sure. Jury's still out on Jack Clark. We haven't seen a lot of him. Haven't seen very much of Jack Clark at all. And in spells, he's been okay, but he's not someone I'd be itching to sign. But I do think there's maybe a little bit more to come from him. And yeah, I think Terry likes Doyle. I'm not so sure on Doyle. I think he's still very, very early in his career. I think he will go on to be a good player, but I think in probably 5 or 6 years' time. So I think the only one I'd be itching to sign would be Broadhead, as the lads have touched on.
I feel like with Doyle, I think he's just been mismanaged a little bit. I feel like if he'd been taken out the team as and when was appropriate, games have been conceding loads of goals and he's making mistakes, to then bring him back in at a better time. I feel like we would have a lot different opinion of him, but we've seen some horrendous performances from him this season, and that's being honest, a lot of really bad mistakes from him, which I feel have came as a result of just being a bit overwhelmed. It's a massive step going from playing under 23s football, especially for a team like Man City, where he's going to enjoy so much possession, to then go to play League One football, where you're getting a lot of crosses coming into the box and strikers double his age, giving him elbows and little tactical pushes and all those type of things. I think it's been a lot for him to take in, especially the tactical side of first team football that you don't really get as much under 23s level. So I feel like with Doyle, if it being managed a bit better, we could have seen a lot better. And just touching on what we said about Broadhead there, Jack, I remember Charlton away saying in terms of the link to midfield and attack, I felt as if that was a game in particular where I felt like we moved the ball between the thirds so quickly, and I think a lot of that was Broadhead dropping in, picking the ball up and moving it on. Just quickly going back to the live chat, Mick Griffiths in there saying, I wonder if Philly is doing a show in Morecambe. Not sure what he's on about there. Maybe he should advertise it a little bit more. John T, as always, joins us, says, evening, lads, so hello to you, good evening. Patrick Ward said, fair point, Adam. Not sure what he's referencing, but clearly agree with
all of it.
Said.
All of it.
Yes, something like that.
He's a huge fan of me.
Is he?
Oh, massive fan. No, I don't know. It's my first time.
Mizu on the live chat as well. He's in there as well. Lads, coming on to the weekend's games then. Shrewsbury at home, of course, tomorrow, 3 o'clock kick-off on Friday, and then Monday we go away to Plymouth, 3 o'clock kick-off live on Sky as well. I just want to start off with a pretty simple question. Terry, I'll go to you first. It feels like it could be 2 quite difficult games. I don't think either of them is going to be a pushover. What's an acceptable points tally? What do you think we need to be aiming for? All 6 points, or come you afford to drop points in one of the games, maybe?
Acceptable's 4 points, because I think Plymouth away is going to be difficult. I think tomorrow we need to be winning our home games. We've got a decent home record, and we've lost 4 times this season at home, but we need to be taking 3 points tomorrow, even though Shrewsbury have been playing well of late, but for me, I think they're safe. So, it could work 2 ways. They could either relax, play better, or relax and be on the beach sort of thing. So I'm hoping it's the latter. But Plymouth away, it's a tough one again. I would love to get 6 points. We've got to be going for the 6 points, mind. But 4 points is probably acceptable. But I want 6 points.
Yeah, I think we'd all want 6 points, really. And I feel like we're only maybe 3 or 4 wins away from probably having promotion confirmed. So 6 points over the space of a weekend, especially against a promotion rival. I know what you're saying. Jack, yourself, how do you feel about the games coming up the weekend? What kind of points do you think we need from it?
Well, as Terry's touched on, we should always be aiming for 6. But I think if you offered us 4, if you gave me 4 points, a win tomorrow and then a draw on Monday, I'd be satisfied with that. I think tomorrow might be a bit of a tougher game than we're actually all expecting. I know you look at it and think Sunderland playing well, in a bit of form. They've got nothing to play for in the bottom half. But I think Shrewsbury are a strange team, because you actually look at them, they keep games very, very tight. You look at the amount of goals they've conceded. They've only conceded 40 goals this season, which is less than us. I think there's only Rotherham got a better division. Rotherham and Wigan, they've got a better defensive record this season. So they're obviously a team that fights and grafts and keeps it tight. So I think it might be another tight game tomorrow, another Gillingham 1-0 in the 95th minute. Hopefully we get a goal a bit earlier than we did against Gillingham. But 4 points, I'd take that. 3 would be a bit of a disappointment, but wouldn't be the end of the world. But anything less than 3, and we're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, I feel like tomorrow, as much as you've got to give respect to Shrewsbury, it almost seems like as soon as their seasons almost came to an end, so to speak, with them being confirmed, probably all but confirmed, not going down, but also not going to make the playoffs, it seems like that's, put them in better form. You would probably expect the opposite, really. But I mean, they've had some great results recently. I think, was it Rotherham that beat 3-0? I think that they beat someone 5-0 only, I think, like last month or so.
Welcome, mate.
Yeah. I mean, Alex Neil said in his press conference there, Jack, when you said that conceded the third least in the league. I think they've also got a record of scoring on average 1 goal a game. So they are gonna. It is going to be a tight game. Of course, they've got a few decent players in there. I think Luke Lee, he's quite experienced in League One. Of course, Tom Flanagan, who we all know about as well. Adam, before I go to you on the weekend's games, hello to Thane SAFC, who's in the live chat. Mizu is saying there, Doyle plays the ball back to the keeper way too much. That's the thing that annoys people. The amount of times I've watched him play the back half minute instead of a midfielder is stupid. John T saying Doyle is a good player who needs to speed up a lot. David Walker in the live chat as well. And proud to be posh is in there saying Doyle just panics on the ball every now and again. Probably comes with his age. I think really Mad Max saying his quality as well. So plenty mixed views on Callum Doyle in the live chat. Adam, I go to you the weekend's games then. Is 4 points all right, do you think? I think I would take that probably.
4 points, 100%. In terms of maths, you look at it, and 4 points is probably the same as 6 points in terms of getting away from Wycombe, because at the end of the day, we need to be a game ahead of Wycombe. Now, if we're in terms of our game in hand as well. So, if it gets to the end of the season, because obviously we win tomorrow, we go 3 points ahead of them. They've got 3 games left. Now, if we were to just get a point on Monday, it takes a game off them, if that makes sense, in terms of catch up. So if we can win tomorrow and Plymouth beat Wycombe, that for me is done. If we can then just get, say, another 4 points for the rest of the season. So, and I'd take a point 100% on Monday.
Yeah, go on, Terry. You know you want in.
I'll ask you the question: what's the perfect score tomorrow between Wycombe and Plymouth?
Plymouth, 100%.
Plymouth.
Yeah.
If we want to climb up to say 4th or 5th to get an easier playoff game, I don't know what you want, but all I'm focused on is getting 6th. And to be fair, we probably want to get 6th so that we can play Rotherham.
Yeah, I feel like Plymouth are definitely going to finish in the top 6. Personally, I feel as if they'll finish in the top 4. If there's anyone who's going to sneak into the automatic spots, I feel like it could be them. I think they're the only team alongside Rotherham, Wigan, and MK Dons who are capable of it at this point, really. Whereas is it Wickham the playing, Terry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
Wickham away.
I think Wickham have got ground to make up. Really, they're playing catch up on us at the minute, and yeah, I feel like the last thing we want is anyone else getting added to that. Really, I mean, I think maybe one question we can throw out is what's going to be the tougher game. Terry, I'll go to you.
Well, I don't think we'll see Shrewsbury do what Gillingham and Crewe and Fleetwood did and come back and just sit and defend for 90 minutes. It's pointless. They'll probably come and give it a go. There's no reason why they shouldn't come and give it a go. You know, it'll be different sort of kettle of fish altogether to those 3 games. And I think for me, if we can get that early goal tomorrow, or even a goal in the first half, I think we can go to win 2 or 3-0. I really do. Plymouth away. If Plymouth beat Wickham and then sort of cement the position in the playoffs, they might take the foot off the gas a little bit. I don't know whether they'll go for automatics. I kind of think MK Dons, for me, are the ones that everyone's sort of overlooking for automatic position. I think they're in second place now. Yeah. They're 3 points ahead of Rotherham. Rotherham are dropping to bits. Rotherham have got the game in hand, but for me, I think MK Dons are in the driving seat along with Wigan. I think we could find Rotherham actually end up in the playoffs.
Yeah, Jack, I'll go to you. I mean, I think the difference is Shrewsbury are probably going to be willing to have a bit more of a go at us. That they've got less to lose, so I feel like with them there might be a bit more attacking. Which game would you think is going to be more of a challenge?
Well, you'd say on paper it should be Plymouth, but I have a feeling tomorrow is going to be quite tough. I think they'll battle, they'll fight. They're obviously organised at the back. I think we just need to, as has been touched on, an early goal's key. I think most teams come to the stadium and try and be organised and difficult to beat, but an early goal throws it out the window, and then they're more inclined to come forward. And when a team comes forward against us, they leave holes at the back and we'll carve them open. So an early goal is key. If we get that, it should be an easy afternoon. But if we don't, you know, our fans are they'll be getting a bit frustrated, and I think they just need to stay with the team. But I think tomorrow might be the harder game, actually.
Yeah, Adam, I think your connection maybe going a little bit, but if you are there and you are with us,
no, you had the fan on.
You what?
My mum had the fan on, so it's making a racket.
Oh well, you got plenty of fans. The weekend's games then. Which one do you think is going to be the bigger challenge out of the 2?
We can't overcomplicate it. Shrewsbury's going to be a far easier game than Plymouth.
Do you think?
100%. What? I've just been through it. Do you disagree?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say either for definitely. I think they're both going to propose different challenges. Plymouth are, on paper, probably a better team, but equally, you've probably got a little bit more to lose. I think Shrewsbury are going to come at us a little bit. I feel like an early goal tomorrow could open Shrewsbury up, and if we can then stay back, all of a sudden it could be a whitewash. But in the same breath, you know, I feel like if we're unable to get an early goal, I feel that could be a really difficult game.
No, definitely. I just think if you say Plymouth's a harder game, it's overcomplicating. Tomorrow you're going to have Shrewsbury sat in there. They will, because they've done it all season. I'll just quickly go through the stats that I gathered. They scored the 4th least goals, 9th lowest XG, 2nd lowest possession, 7th least shots, 5th lowest least touches in the opposition's box, 5th lowest passes to the final third. They're just so defensive, and it's their game style. So to say that Plymouth's a harder game when tomorrow's probably going to be a case of just Roberts just trying to score by himself for 90 minutes, just like it was against Gillingham. I just think it will be a good game. I think it will be I get what you're saying. If we don't put them down, then it will be tough. But we won't have to think about conceding the goal for the majority of the game. And we've got the best attackers in the league, arguably, with Pritchard back tomorrow.
I think he's expected to be.
Right, so
I'm not sure.
They're going to have a field day. It's literally just going to be like a training match to see if we can score. That's my prediction. And I think if people rather have that than have to travel to Plymouth and play an actual hard game, like similar to Oxford.
Fair enough then. I mean, just getting away from that a little bit, we will get back onto predictions for tomorrow's game at the end of the show, but we've got a bit of time before then. Dan Neil today has been nominated for the League One Young Player of the Season. I presume that's from the EFL themselves. Hasn't played a great deal recently, of course, scored the winner against Crewe, and I don't think he's started a game under Alex Neil for a little while. He might have done when he first came in, but he has been taking up the team really after Lee Johnson played him more or less every game. Jack, I'm going to start with you. Do you think we're underutilising him, or do you think he's got more to offer this team?
Not really, because I think we burned them out earlier on. I think that was part of the problem. I think with young players, you have to manage them correctly, and I think we're almost relying on them too much. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, talented player, but I think we expected a little bit too much of him as a young lad coming into the team. I know some people will say he's a great player, play him every week, but I think you have to manage them, not just technically, but mainly physically at this level. You know, I think we did over-align him a little bit. The problem he's got now is he's been one of the better players this season, but we're doing well without him. You know what I mean? It's no reflection on him. We've just seemed to pick up a bit of form without him in the team. So at the minute, I think you try and keep it as much as you can, but you could still potentially have 7-8 games left this season. So he's bound to feature, and I think he fully deserves the nomination. I think he has been a really good. It's been an excellent season for him.
Yeah, I think his breakout season squad, I do think that has been impressive. Obviously, he's tailed off a little bit recently, but I feel like that's pretty similar to Doyle. And I think not so long ago, I would add Cirkin in that conversation as well, where young lads, breakout season, not played much first-team football before. Sometimes some of them didn't play any. Started off brilliantly, fit into a team so well, and but I feel like as they got scouted a little bit more, and I think as they made a few more mistakes and lost a little bit of confidence, and then got exhausted, I think, through, just maybe playing too many minutes in such a physical league. I feel like we didn't really manage them well, and playing 2 times a week, I feel like at their age is probably cost them a little bit, especially when some of them are still developing. Terry, were you wanting in?
Yeah, I feel like if we had an experienced left back, or if Huggins was fit, Cirkin wouldn't be getting the game time he's getting. I think he's in the same bracket as Doyle and Neil. He's played too many games, being burned out a little bit, sort of mentally more than physically. And I think it'd be in the same situation. We'd probably find him on the bench at this moment in time as well.
I forgot all about Huggins.
Yeah, I think he's out till the rest of the season. I don't think he's expected to return until pre-season for next year, really. You what, sorry?
Yeah, signed.
Yeah. I mean, Terry, I know what you're saying about Cirkin, but do you think he's got better in recent weeks?
Wasn't very good on Saturday, was he? Let's face it.
No.
I don't think it was good at all. He's had a lot of sort of hitty-missy games. To be honest, I don't think we've been playing great football, over the last few weeks. We're just being better managed in defence. We're being able to have the clean sheets and find a way of breaking teams down, and that's the main thing now. With Lee Johnson gone, we've Alex Neil's found a way to keep the clean sheets and sort the defence out, where the defence before that was awful. That one of the worst defences in the league, letting goals in. So I think that's been sort of the backbone of the recent success. Not so much that we're playing brilliant football. I didn't think we played great football against Oxford at the weekend. I think Oxford was slightly the better side for me. I think we just took our chance, and then we had like the quality on the bench to come on with Embleton towards the end, a fresh pair of legs. Like Embleton, this time last season, Embleton was playing good football for Blackpool. So at this time of the season, he comes good, and that kind of player on the bench to come on last 20 minutes can change games.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes Embleton can go missing in games a little bit, but when you need him to pop up with the moment, he tends to be there, almost a little bit like Chris Maguire.
That's why, for me, at this moment in time, he's better as like a 20-minute, 30-minute substitute.
Yeah. Like I say, I feel like he gets the ball in and around the box, and he can make something happen. A good ball in onto someone, he set the ball, put a good cross in for Broadhead, and then the next game, Oxford away, he ends up scoring the winner. So I do feel like he can come up with the goods when needed, but overall he can be quite quiet in games. Just going back to Neil, I feel like if he'd been managed a little bit better, we could have had a full season out of him, but we've probably only got like 2/3 of a season out of him and Doyle in particular, because they just, I think, got played too much, really. Adam, I'll go to you then. Dan Neil, do you think he's been mismanaged a little bit? Could we be utilising him a little bit more? I mean, he's getting nominated for League One Young Player of the Season.
I'll be honest, I didn't realise he played 35 games. It feels if he played like 20 games at the start of the season, then he's just been completely isolated since then. He is quality mind. I think it's a shame if we can't get. I can't decide because at the start of the season, like, he was brilliant, and then I saw him with Bolton, and he was just getting overrun. And I think I said it on last time I was here. Defensively, he can't press, whether that's forward or laterally, and it's all because of distances. He can't cover ground quickly. He's a little bit weak when it comes to getting a dribble with the opposition. But I think someone said it on. It might have been Fame in the chat there. He makes things happen. He can make things happen. And the best individual performance by a Sun player this season was Daniel Neil away at Doncaster. And I think a game like Shrewsbury at home is his bread and butter, where he'll be on the ball, he'll be asked to spread it around, he'll be asked to play a zippy pass from deep into Stewart's feet. I think he brings Ross Stewart to the game a bit more because he looks for the strikers, whereas it frustrates the living daylight out of me because every time our midfielders have the ball, their first thought is, can we get out wide? And the best football we've played this season is when our wide men have been stretched, the full-backs have gone with them, and then you've got Pritchard and Neil in around Stewart centrally. And I think Daniel offers that. I'd 100% bring him in the ball, and I'd play him alongside Jay Matei.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I feel like he's something you does struggle with the physicality a little bit when a big lad's getting in his face a little bit and muscling in him. And I think sometimes he can kind of lose a bit of influence on the game. I think he can sometimes get a bit bullied. So I do agree with what you're saying. Just quickly as well, 125 people watching, 91 likes. So if you haven't already, please do press the like button. We're only 9 away from reaching the magic 100, which you do like to eat by the end of the stream. If everyone who is watching like now would definitely get there. And as well, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. We've got 8.45 thousand subscribers. So if you'd like to subscribe, it is free to do so, and you won't miss out on anything we do. In the future, we're going to get onto one more thing, I think, before we get back onto the predictions and round up the show. Rotherham have fallen off massively over the past few weeks. I think I've seen something on Twitter like that said something along the lines of Jack Ross would have been proud of the drop-off in the form. Rotherham look almost certain we're going to go up in the top two, probably favourites to win the league for large parts of the season as well. And, well, now it looks like they could be finishing the playoffs. With that, and with us, I think it's now in our hands to finish in the playoffs. What's a realistic aim? I've seen some fans seeing automatic promotions back on. I personally feel like that's a step too far. Jack, you're shaking your head. I'll go to you. Go on. What's your thoughts?
Nah, automatic promotion's gone, isn't it? I think even if we win all 5 games and finish on 88 points, that might not be enough. I think realistically, what you touched on Rotherham dropping off, I know some people will disagree in the chat, but I really do think that, when teams get at this level, get to the later stages of the Football League trophy, the FL trophy, it affects them because we've done it twice, 2019 and 2021, dropped off both seasons. And happened to Rotherham, didn't they? They got the final and won, and they're having a bit of a drop-off in form. Whether or not it's energy, momentum, focus shifts a little bit, maybe they can't get up to those levels. I think there's something in that, me. Us, realistically now, we just need to solidify our position in the playoffs, don't we? How many points will it take us? Maybe, do we need 9, 10 from maybe from the last 5? 3 wins, 1 draw and a loss. 3 wins and 2 draws. Would that be enough? 11 points to get us to 84? I think if we get around 83, 84 points and we don't get in the playoffs, we'll be incredibly unlucky.
Yeah, as well. I mean, I was looking at the statistics of it, and if the top of the table has been so much more competitive this season than it has, I think, in any other time we've been in League One, and sometimes enough points that would almost get you into the top 2 in previous years is only enough to kind of scrape 5th or 6th. So. I feel like if we were to go ahead and do what you've said there, Jack, you probably couldn't say fairer really than that, and given it the best strike you can. Just while we're on that, I mean, you mentioned, of course, Rotherham winning the Papa John's Trophy. Do you think that's actually possibly more of a hindrance, having that final in February, March, April kind of time? Do you think that's actually a hindrance to promotion hopes?
Potentially. I just think, the twice that we've got the final, 2019 under Jack Ross and last year, I know the fans weren't there, but our season's kind of dropped off a little bit, and it wasn't as dramatic as Rotherham's drop off because we weren't as flying high and we didn't crash as much. But it might be something in it. I don't know. It might just be a complete coincidence. But I think maybe the focus goes on that game, and players like to play at Wembley, and then, you know, when they play and they can't really get the season going again. You know what I mean? It's like they've kind of, after the Lord Mayor's show a little bit. You know, they've had the big day out, they've had the big game, and then it's hard to motivate yourself for the bump and grind of League One again. So maybe there's something in that. I mean, people might disagree, but I think it's worth mentioning.
Yeah, it's like a big kind of a big, like you say, it's a big day out and it's a big celebration. But then you forget that only 3-4 days later, you've got another league game to play, and you've probably got another 10 really kind of to get through. And yeah, I do think it can be a bit of a distraction. That's why personally I feel like with the John's Trophy, for the most part, you are best off used as an opportunity to give under 23s players some first team minutes and bring some of the injured lads back into players coming back from injury, players who haven't played much back into the fold. Terry, I'll go with yourself then. Is there absolutely any chance of automatic promotion? Personally, I don't think so. Is it all about securing playoff spots though?
I put it this way, if we don't make the playoffs now, it's our own fault, isn't it? Because we're in the right position now. It's in our own hands. You know, if the players don't make the playoffs now, they've bottled it. They've thrown it away. You know, we have to make the playoffs. I'm not even going to think about automatic promotion. I'm not even going to think about that. For me, that's completely off the table. But if for whatever reason we win 5 games and it comes along, you'd snap it, you'd take it straight away. But for me, it's all about playoffs, which is in our own hands. It's down to us. It's down to Sunderland and the manager and the team to perform to get the points because, you know, it's in their own destiny now, simple as.
Yeah, Terry, while with you, have you got the whiteboard with you, by the way, for tomorrow's game?
I have, and I definitely wouldn't start the team that he started last week because he even admitted it was the wrong starting lineup. So I'm going to go back to a 4-3-3, and I'm kind of in two minds because I do like 09, but I like the Dan Neil in there as well on the left-hand side. That could be good. So I wouldn't bother me if Dan Neil or 09 started there, and also Pritchard for me over Embleton. But if Embleton did start there again because if Pritchard's not 100% fit, that wouldn't bother me at all. But I would definitely drop Roberts and Clark because then as the game goes on and you got tired players, you got likes of Roberts, Clark, Embleton, Neil who can come on and really turn the game around the last half an hour if we can't break them down with that formation and that team. He won't drop Evans, simple as he's the captain. He's not going to get dropped at the end of the season, barring an injury. So he's definitely starting. We all know he prefers Pritchard over Embleton. So Pritchard, Embleton for me, again, that impact player last 20, 30 minutes, him to come on when you've got tired legs in the opposition, same as Dan Neil. So that's the start lineup for me anyway.
Well, it wouldn't be Thursday Night Live without Terry's whiteboard. Adam, going to you now. I mean, is this all about confirming our playoff spot? I feel like it's in our hands now. You win a few games, you've confirmed it, and then we've got to focus on who it is we're getting in the semi-finals. Yeah,
definitely. I think tomorrow's the most important game of the season. We're not just games. If we beat Shrewsbury and Plymouth beat Wickham, I think we probably need to get another 5 points, 6 points. 6 points from out the last 4 games, which should be easy enough. Because Wickham's still got to play Sheffield Wednesday, so you'd expect them to drop points there. Burton will be on the last day. I think Burton, they've just drew to Wigan and Plymouth, so that's not an easy game at the moment. I think if both things happen tomorrow, then I think that wraps it up. But then we're Sunderland, so anything can happen really, can't it?
Yes, of course. We'd just like to say thank you to everyone. We have reached 105 likes, so thank you to everyone who has pressed the thumbs up icon. We have reached our goal. But before we round off, we're going to get some score predictions for tomorrow's game, and we're going to start with the mad mistake.
Well, I'm feeling pretty confident tomorrow. I like to go for big scores. So I'm going to go for an early goal and then 3-0 win.
Oh, I think that would
set us up. Like Adam says, tomorrow's the most important game because tomorrow's the next game. So every game that comes along is the most important game. Tomorrow must be 3 points. Like I said, if Plymouth win tomorrow, got a 4-point cushion over Oxford, a 4-point cushion over Wickham, then we kind of sort of can go into the Plymouth game knowing that a draw wouldn't be a bad result.
That would set us up lovely for the final few games of the season. I'm going to go with 2-0 myself. Patrick Ward in the live chat says scrappy 2-0 to us. John Forbes saying 3-0 as well. Neil Flurry 2-1. Mad Mackham 2-1. Jack Shield, a score prediction from your fine self.
I think it'll be another tight, scrappy one, as we've touched on. They don't concede many. They're organised. They're hard to beat. But I think we've got a bit of momentum at the minute. I think we're flying, aren't we? So I think we'll get the job done. I'm going to go 1-0.
Peter SAFC in the live chat says a 3-1 win as well. So there's lots of confident people in the chat tonight. Adam, I think you might have said it earlier, but what's your score prediction for tomorrow's game?
I agree with both of them. It will either be 1-0 or it will be a 4-0. Because I think under Alex Neil, the opportunities that we've created in various games, I think Ross Stewart hasn't scored for a while. We are due a 4 over 5. I'm going to go for
I hate to do with the kiss of death, but I just feel Shrewsbury do a bad game.
Yeah,
I mean, everything adds up for good Friday, 5-0. Ross Stewart hat-trick.
Well, everything does add up, Adam. Earlier in the show, you also said that 6 points could be equal to 4. So I'm not sure we should be trusting your maths, really. Quickly going back to the live chat, Tam thinks a 1-0 win. Gordon Seymour, he's got great vision, and he says 3-1 win. Alan Robinson says 2-1, difficult 2-1 win. Micah Bowers thinks we're going to win 2-1. Jack Shaw, 2-0. Diego Max says 1-0 versus Shrewsbury, then 4-1 on Monday. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We are going to leave the show there. Terry, would you like to say good night, everyone?
Good night, everybody. Enjoy the game tomorrow.
Jack, have you got a message for everyone? You're going to deliver that classic line we all love?
Well, keep the faith. We're grinding it out and hopefully get 3 points. And see you later, lads and lasses.
There we go. There it is. And Adam as well, have you got a message for everyone before we go off?
I really want to say, don't forget to hashtag it.
Oh, God. We'll have him removed.
What about Musgal? What about Musgal? Are we getting Musgal?
There we go. Jack wants to say Musgal. Adam, would you like to say Musgal as well?
Okay, Musgal.
Terry, would you like to say Musgal?
My Sky? What?
Muscal, there we go, he said it. Thank you everyone for watching. If you haven't already, please do drop us a like and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. We will be back on Sunday for the Sunday Bunch where hopefully we are reviewing a wonderful Sunderland victory over Shrewsbury, as well as looking forward to that massive Easter Monday tie against Plymouth Argyle. But for myself, Jack Dodds, from Terry the Mad Mistake, from Jack Shields, and from our guest Adam Rigg, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.